I'm your host, Sean MacKenzie. Thank you for joining me once again on my channel on data engineering and data analytics. In this episode, we go back to our Microsoft Access playlist, and we're going to look at how to build a search form using a couple of drop-down boxes with some values so that we can easily and quickly filter our form that's being displayed to the users. And this is something that you'll do over and over again, and it's a very, very handy thing to be able to do, to put into your application, and I think that you're going to like this one. So without further ado, let's get to our search form in Microsoft Access. Okay, so for this example, I'm going to be using a file that we used in the past, and I've got some climate change data there thanks to the World Bank for providing that data. You can go to their website to get this data set. It's called the Climate Change Data Set. And this has a whole bunch of country data with different measures for emissions and cereal yields and all kinds of different stuff that are related to climate change. Population, all kinds of neat stuff in there, and it's a big file. It's relatively big. It's got 13,000 rows in it. Not all of the yearly columns have numbers in them. And so it's sort of this big data set, and there's a bunch of different series and countries in there. So what we're going to do first is we're going to use the report wizard, and we're just going to grab some fields off of this climate change data data set. We'll just grab a couple of years off the end here because we don't want it to be too big, and we'll just see what this looks like. Maybe I'll grab 4 years, and that's going to give those ones. Now for a quick lookup, it's good to use tabular, which is kind of like looks like a spreadsheet kind of format, and we'll change our name to climate change form, and then just open it from the wizard and see what that looks like. And it's not the prettiest form in the world as it comes out of the wizard, but you can see it's got the same fields, and then it's got a kind of like the header up top, and you can see it's got all 13,000 rows in it, and so that's going to be pretty interesting to filter. And so if we wanted to, you can create a filter for country, and you could create a filter for urban or for the series name, in this case urban population. And that's really handy. Now if we go up to we can right click on the tab and go to design view, or you can choose it from the ribbon up above, and you can see here's our form design. And now what we're going to do is we're going to drop a couple of drop down boxes onto our form, and I'll just cancel. You can just cancel if the wizard comes up, because we're going to do this manually, which is something that you should learn because it gives you a lot more flexibility in how you can create your combo boxes. So on the label that pops up there, I'll just type in country, and then I'll sort of move that closer to, I'll move the text box closer to the label, maybe give it a bit more space. And now you can see I have an unbound text box. I'll just copy and paste that, and I'll just move that over to the right there, and or sort of space these out a little bit so that they sort of make sense. And we can sort of move those around. And then the second one is going to be, I'll type in the label there, series, because we're going to choose a country and a series, or just a country or just a series, depending on what the user wants to see out of those two. So what we can do next is we'll give the text or the combo boxes a good name. Instead of combo 19, we'll call it CBO series, and the other one was CBO country. And there you go, we've got our combo boxes are created, and now we can sort of get some data in there. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab, you'll go into the row source for the drop down and just grab the table you want. And that wasn't filtered, so you could see a whole bunch of other tables in there from my other demos. But once you've got your table that you want, And in this case, we're going to select just the country name because we want to be able to filter by country name. And then we're going to change to the SQL view, and we're going to pop in there, and just before the first field, we're going to put the distinct keyword in there. And that's going to give us just a list of all the countries with no duplicates. And we'll sort that so that it's easy for users to do a lookup. And then we can just close it, and it'll ask us if we want to save, and we can do that. So now we've got one list there in our Unbound combo box, and then we'll go to our other Unbound combo box, and we'll do the same thing. We'll click on the ellipsis, we'll grab our climate change table, except this time we're going to grab the series name. And we'll do the same thing because we just want the sort of just a list of all the different series so that the user can select it. We don't want to have any duplicates in there, and so that distinct keyword is going to help us out to narrow that down, just the list that we want, and then we'll sort that ascending as well, and then we'll close it, and it'll ask us to save, and we'll say yes. And based off of that, now we've got the same form that we had before, but now we got on our header here, we got these nice combo boxes here, and you can see that we've got that now. That these don't fit into here, so let's go and change it. This is why it's good to do this manually. Once you get a nice fine idea, refinement around your Listboxes creation, you can really create some neat stuff. So now mine's in metric, so I'll put 10 centimeters, which would probably be like 4 inches or whatever, if you're using the US one. And now you can see, instead of having the automatic sizing, we said, no, I want the list to really expand out. So when I choose one, I can actually see what I'm selecting. And so that creates a nice couple of combo boxes that you can make selections from. And from there, now we have our combo boxes, and we can go to the event tab in the properties there. We're going to look at the after update event, and we're going to click on the code builder when that comes up, and we'll go OK, and that's going to pop us into the class module for the form that we're working on, and we can do some really neat stuff in there. And so in this case, it's created the CBO country after update event, and that's something that we're going to come back to, but we can just step outside of the subroutine there for the after update, and we can just create our own sub, which we'll do now. And we'll just say sub requery form, that's good enough. And we'll just call it requery form. And so what we're going to do is we're going to make one requery procedure, and then we're going to use it in multiple places. And so this is sort of showing you that it's good to reuse the code that you make. And in this case, especially for search forms or reporting and things like that, when you have multiple options for the user and things like that, it's good to make a single procedure or a single function that's going to do it for you, and then reuse it. So we'll make a strSQL string variable, and then we're going to say, if the length of the country drop-down box, that's the me exclamation CBO country, so if the length of that is greater than 0, then we're going to add the filter clause is just a filter setting in the form, and so you can populate that with sort of like, it's similar to SQL. But you can just pop in the strSQL is equal to the country name equals, and then we'll concatenate the country name in there with some single quotes, and that's going to do the first clause. So if there's an entry in the country drop down, we want to use that, and that's what that first the first if-then statement block does. And so we'll do the same thing for if the series drop down also has a an entry in there, then that's going to we're going to use that. But in this one, we're going to go if the length of the if we've added anything to our SQL string, that means we use the first one for country. So we're going to put an and in there so that it says use the country name is equal to Canada, and the series is equal to this. And so that's going to pop that one in there for us. So this is a simple lookup that you could do very quickly between the two combo boxes. And so there's not much complexity to it. You can really get complex once you get rolling. If you have a lot of different fields and things and options, you can really turn a procedure like this into something cool. So what we'll do here is we'll say if the series has something in it to drop down, then we're going to use that. So we'll say the string for SQL is equal to concatenate that, and then put the series name on the end of it. Series name is equal to the series name, and then from there. Now from there, I'm going to go back up, and I'm actually going to initialize that variable. I'm going to put an empty string in there, just because we're going to use that. If it's empty, then we want the filter to turn off so that you show everything. And so we're going to use that here. And so first, what I'll do is I'm going to create the sequence that is going to put the SQL, I guess just a where clause, into our filter, and then since we do have the the SQL string is an empty string, then we want to capture that. So we'll say, if the length of the SQL string is equal to 0, then we'll just turn off the filter. So we'll say me.filter on is equal to false, and then we'll say else, put in the filter as we've said here. And so that's gonna basically turn on the filter if there's some entries, and turn off the filter if there's no entries, and it'll just show everything. So now we've got a little procedure, and we can choose from either or. We can choose either combo box to filter from, or both combo boxes, and that's gonna be good for a really quick little filter form for us. And now we can pop this little procedure. So now we've got a subroutine here. It's called Requery form that we created, and we can just pop that into our CBO country after update, and then we can find our CBO series in the same way. Now it created that before update automatically, but we want after update, and what we can do is we can paste it in there as well, and then we can delete the automatically created one there. So now we've reused the same code for the second one, and it's going to run the same way. So if anything breaks on it, you can just fix it in one place, which is really handy for if you've got a whole bunch of different selections that you're using. So now we go to our form, we can open it, and if I choose Afghanistan, you can see there's it's all Afghanistan. If I choose serial yield, it'll narrow it down to the serial yield for that country. Or if I choose something else, if I just leave serial yield in there, then you can see now it's just serial yield. So you could scroll through the countries and you could compare those. And if you empty both of the boxes, it goes back to combo boxes. It goes back to the 13,000 records, which is the entire table. So I could choose Canada, and there's all my measures for Canada. I could choose the United States, and you know, it'll give me the same thing for them. You know, there's France, and if I wanted, you know, average precipitation for France, I could get that. And so you can very quickly do your lookups, and it's very handy for that. And the speed is actually pretty good when you're using the filter like that. And so it's a nice way of doing it. You can add all kinds of fields in there, you can have different types of fields. You can have dates. You can put numbers in. You can also, if you're looking for filters of, you know, greater or less than, you can put those into your search, which is also a nice way of doing it. And as I mentioned, we have one procedure, as you can see, the one big procedure, and all we did was we put the Requery form, the name of our procedure, into the after update events of the two. So you could have a whole bunch more events that you used for this. You know, if you wanted to have like 10 search options or something like that, you could do that. So you could have some other fields in there as well that you looked up, you know, if you had those on your form, and that would be very handy as well. And since you only pop the name of the routine in, it makes it very easy to add it to those buttons instead of having to copy and paste code everywhere. So you could also change the operation of it. So there's the and. You could make it, you know, or. So you could say, you know, if you had a case where you wanted it to be Kenya, or say Kenya or annual precipitation, then you see all the rows for Kenya, and you'll see all the rows for average annual precipitation, and where they intersect, I suppose. And so you could you know, use an or. You could also change it to or and based off of the user selection. You could put that into a drop down as well. You could say if my CBO and or is equal to and, then it's and, otherwise it's or. So there's no limitation to the number of things that you can do when you do your search form this way. And it makes it a very nice and easy, fast way of doing it, and your users will love you for it, because if they're working on a form that is really sort of complex and they're constantly searching for things, then having a nice search form is really awesome, and they're gonna love it. I can't tell you how many times I brightened up somebody's day and saved them a ton of time by just adding a couple of filters to the form that they've been using for years. And make sure you listen to the users, because they'll tell you what they need. And that's how you do a search form with drop-downs in Microsoft Access. Hope you enjoyed today's discussion on how to build a simple filter form using a couple of drop-down boxes in Microsoft Access. If you like what you saw today, please make sure to give the video a thumbs up, and if you have not subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe to the channel and click the bell when you see the bell. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave those in the comment section below. Have a great day, have a safe day, and I'll catch you next time.